And ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for your main event. In this corner, from parts unknown, coming in at a combined weight of 532 pounds, the J-Bone Express. And in this corner, utilizing the Freebird rules, your tag team champions of the world, at a combined weight of 832 pounds, the Brothers in Kayfabe.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the live, in-person version of the Brothers in Kayfabe podcast. I am one of your hosts, El Gigante, Jake Keel, one of the aforementioned brothers in Kayfabe. We're not shoot brothers, we're working brothers, but we're pretty close to a shoot here. To my right, the newcomer, the guy wearing a beautiful Fiend t-shirt today, Mr. Triple J, Jimmy Jackson. What's going on, Jimmy?
Man, how is it going? I just want to say shout out to this, live episode of the podcast in front of a sold-out crowd. Thanks to everyone who bought tickets, came out to support us.
I mean, we've even got Brian Myers and Matt Cardona on commentary over here.
They're sitting right here.
We're cutting a promo in front of them.
I mean, honestly, it's a wonderful, beautiful thing, man. It's been a good week. It's been a interesting week to say the least. I had a little. I'm just gonna kind of just want to come out and say it. I had a little homework this week.
Yeah.
That we talked about last week on the Lost episode.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Should we kind of talk about that a little bit? Is that nobody's fault? We're not blaming anyone.
Okay,
but Landon messed
let me
up.
bring in the other guy.
No, I'm just kidding.
Let me bring in the other guy.
I'm sorry.
And then we will go on to the Lost episode.
I'm sorry.
You're getting ahead of us, Jimmy. Come on, man. In the other corner, the blue corner, we've got Jimmy in the red corner. In the blue corner, the previous champion who just lost his title, Mr. Wrestling, Landon Baumgartner. What's going on, dude?
I'm shoot hot. So
we can tell you're red in the face right now.
I am.
Yeah,
this is the first episode on our new time on Saturday. So if you're listening to this, it is Saturday. You've listened hopefully already to the Wednesday morning release, episode 7. And that's where you heard the heartbreaking news that Apple has launched a full-fledged war against me by penetrating the safety of my house, the integrity of this podcast, and wrestling fans all over the world by poisoning us with Catalina OS.
I don't feel safe here.
I don't feel safe either.
This is worse than Corona.
100%. 100%. It is absolutely worse than the coronavirus. Change my mind. You can't.
The Catalina virus.
Because we actually recorded this a week ago.
We did.
And episode 7 was going to be our first in-person, all three of us together, live
with
podcast.
A guest.
With a guest. We had a guest.
I mean, we we laughed, we cried, we shed blood together, boys.
We did.
And
we bladed each other with the same blade.
I mean, listen, shout out to Abdullah the Butcher. I'm telling you, it was glorious. And as Bobby Roode would say, it was glorious.
And just like Bobby Roode's theme song, we won't give in. We won't give in.
No.
That was a great segue there, Jimmy, by the way. I love that.
But we did an emergency re-recording. We did an interview with one of the same guests. We had David McCride on. We also had his brother on. It's a little bit of a different episode. It's a full interview episode. Jake and Jimmy are absent from episode 7. But let us know what you think of an interview format, if that's something you want more in the future, because that's something we want. We have some local talent we're going to be interviewing. I'm working on getting some international talent, if I'm legally allowed to say that. Hopefully he will say yes.
We've got an out-of-state talent too that we're going to bring on. That's really, really psyched to be on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we'll
it's gonna
announce
be
that
fun.
whenever it comes out.
Yeah, and we just want this community to continue to grow. We've got some plugs at the end we'll drop.
Sure.
But let's just get into it. Jake, how was your week?
It was good. I want to start off by saying we're now on the Wrestling Podcast Network for everybody out there. I want to give them a shout out.
Yeah.
They're literally starting that up today. Us and 4 other podcasts all about wrestling. So if y'all want
Pretty cool.
wrestling, go take a look at them. My week. Gosh, I don't even remember what I talked about last episode that got
Right.
lost. But I talked about that Dalton Castle special.
Yeah.
The Dalton Castle special where he's literally like talking in his kitchen and then they're showing matches, which was one of the greatest things. If you're not watching ROH television right now, like it got me super pumped. I've got another one on the DVR that I'm going to watch later this week. But stayed up late the other night and watched some SmackDown. I mean, it was
How was it?
SmackDown. It was it was all right. They didn't really do a whole lot with Otis. He was in a mixed tag with Mandy and Sonya and Dolph, but
They're still doing that, huh?
yeah, apparently Sonya has decided that she is the new Becky Lynch. She's not going to be called the man, but she wants to be called Daddy. So that's a thing.
Are you serious?
Serious as a heart attack.
I don't like that.
Serious
that's
as
gross.
a heart attack.
I want to go on record right here, right now, and say that I'm anti that.
I am too. But it's it's effective heel
Cesaro's
work.
daddy.
It's effective
Well, yeah.
heel work, Speaking of Cesaro, do y'all remember when there was the Cesaro section every week? Like people held up signs that just said Cesaro section.
No.
Those had to. I'm convinced that maybe like the initial one was like a fan brought all the signs and passed them
Yeah.
out. But I think they actually like debunked it pretty quickly. That it was like, oh no, like WWE is like doing that. Like they printed off those
Yeah.
signs and handed them out.
It's been a weird week though. Like I kind of feel like we should delete our Twitter after this week, but I don't know. Just seeing all the I don't
Yeah.
like wrestling Twitter, but
I'll put it this way: there's a reason why I don't have a personal Twitter,
Right.
Because I had one, and every time I got on, I was like, "Oh, this is just toxic garbage."
I have one that I'll go on every once in a while, but like only because I go and look at some of my hobbies. Like racing Twitter
Yeah.
is amazing. Like if y'all were race fans, y'all would love Twitter because it's hilarious. But wrestling Twitter sucks. But we'll talk about it later. We all got together for Double or Nothing. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Renewed my wife's interest in wrestling today. She was actually getting into what I was watching at home during my lunch break.
Dude, all I'm saying, that's like
So
that's a beautiful thing.
L-
I think we should talk about that. Like that should be our after our week.
that's what I'm going to get to. We'll get to that later. Like
Yeah.
I'm just going to go through
That's good, though.
on what I watched today. I haven't got to watch a lot of wrestling since we talked last, but the mini-sode that Landon did with the two McCrite brothers renewed some interest in some older stuff that I wanted to watch. Because if you listen to that episode, he talked about the Nexus the night before SummerSlam 2010, whenever John Cena's team went up against the Nexus and they just brawled to end the show. So I went and I was like, I want to go watch that elimination tag match from SummerSlam 2010 with the Nexus versus Team WWE. Jimmy, if you've never seen this phenomenal match,
I haven't. I have not.
the
So
only bad part is it's the burial of the Nexus.
so explain to me the Nexus. So it was guys from NXT.
The
who
first incarnation of NXT.
Okay, yeah, and they invaded the main
Yeah,
roster.
so it was the first incarnation of NXT, and NXT was a game show back then.
okay.
It was more scripted than Tough Enough.
okay.
Well, it was 100% scripted, but it was
Yeah.
trying to be 100% scripted Tough Enough. I'm not entirely sure that Tough Enough wasn't entirely scripted as well, but At least they
I-
did a better job of hiding the fact that
Yeah.
it was scripted.
Can I just say that I love Tough Enough?
I love Tough Enough. I wish that they would do Tough Enough every year.
That clip of Triple H in the first season
Oh,
getting in
yeah.
the ring. Take a bump.
Oh,
Take a
dude.
bump.
I wish it was more like that.
It's so intense.
The best
So
was
good.
when Stone Cold hosted.
Yeah.
The last incarnation was kind of weird when The Miz was kind of hosting it,
Haven't seen that one.
and they had judges, and the judges was it Christian, Hogan, and Page?
It was
It was Hogan and Page for sure.
it was Hogan, Page, and I think Daniel Bryan.
Because
yes.
didn't Hogan have to like get kicked off
Ric
of
Fla-
it?
and he
Ric
was gone
Flair-
halfway through.
Ric Flair showed up halfway through.
Because it was also the time when both his sex tape dropped and
Oh,
Paige's
gosh.
sex tapes dropped. So it was like,
The
okay,
worst.
this is
everybody
weird.
just disappeared immediately.
right.
It's just all of the It's all the worst
But,
is what it is.
So they had the NXT show,
Yeah.
and that's what replaced the WWE ECW. Like,
Okay.
I remember when it happened, they were hyping up this episode, and Vince McMahon is going to be at ECW, and he comes out and he goes, "Hey guys, guess what? Next week y'all are getting replaced. Next week is your last episode, and then just left. And then they were like, later on, they were like, we're gonna be doing this new game show called NXT with the next generation of superstar, and
Pretty ridiculous.
so they did this whole season, and they had to do like obstacle courses, and like
Yeah.
every once in a while they wrestled matches. And one of the
Okay.
best matches on that card on that show was the first night they aired. They had Chris Jericho and Daniel Bryan in a match for the first time. Daniel Bryan was on this show. He was one of the contestants.
Wow.
He was a rookie.
He was a rookie, and they did a huge storyline because his mentor was The Miz. And he was
Wow.
like, why am I with this guy? I've wrestled for 10 years at this point. The Miz is nowhere near my caliber. Why am I being mentored by him? And so The Miz was the super heel at the time.
Okay.
Miz was on the way up. He was getting ready
Yeah.
to win Money in the Bank. And like was getting ready to be that top star. And they did this deal where like almost every heel on NXT was paired with like a face mentor and vice versa. Or there was a couple that were like face and face, like they had Darren Young and R-Truth together,
Okay.
and which was kind of seemed racist because it was like the two black guys, let's put them together. But they did this whole show, and they had a winner, and of course, like the weekly rankings would come out every week, and then they'd knock somebody off the show. And then did Wade Barrett win the season?
Yeah, Wade Barrett won
Talking
season
about
1.
Bad news.
Bad
Bill?
news. This
I'm
was
afraid I've got a bit of bad news.
this was just when he was the Englishman Wade Barrett. I think William Regal may have been his mentor.
I think.
We might have to Google that. But so the next week after this show season ends.
Yeah.
The main event was Cena versus Punk, and Punk had the Straight Edge Society in his corner.
Okay.
Yeah, Barrett won season 1. His mentor was Jericho.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Jericho. I don't know where I'm pulling the William. I don't even know if Regal was on the show. But I'm just thinking maybe they put the English guy with the English guy, you know.
I mean, it makes
Regal
sense.
was with Skip Sheffield.
Oh, yeah, because that was a weird pairing. Skip Sheffield was Ryback.
Whoa.
And he was on this
Okay.
show, and he was, yep, what it do? Skip Sheffield here. And, like,
That's it. Oh my
Here are,
Sure.
let me read this. These are the contestants with their pros. Wade Barrett with Chris Jericho, David Otunga with R-Truth, Justin Gabriel with Matt Hardy, Heath Slater with Christian, Darren Young with CM Punk, Skip Sheffield with
I
William
forgot Darren
Regal,
Young and CM Punk.
Daniel Bryan with The Miz, and Michael Tarver with Carlito.
The Darren Young and CM Punk one, it's all coming back now, was a great storyline because Darren Young's character at the time was like the East Coast party boy,
Yeah.
and he was paired with the Straight Edge Society.
Yeah.
So, like,
I'll
you can
wait.
just
I'm all
only
about that.
imagine what Punk was saying to this dude. But so they all graduate from the NXT show, and like that next week on Raw, there's just none of them were there. There's some of them were supposed to show up, some of them were supposed to go back
Yeah.
down to development. Especially Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett was like, they were like, you won, so you're on Raw. Like that's the
Yeah.
new thing. And they wait a second. Was that Nikki Cross just a second ago?
No.
That looked like Nikki Cross.
Just so everyone knows,
They
we just have the first episode of Tough Enough playing
Landon
silently
threw
on
up
TV.
the WWE Network on the 4 monitors.
Look
we
at the
have
full
here
head of hair
in-
with Coach.
dude. This is some old school stuff. Look at those puka shell necklaces that guy's got
man.
on. But
It's awful.
so Wade Barrett shows up at the end of this
Yeah.
this show, and
Okay.
in the middle of John Cena versus CM Punk, and they were hyping it up because it was like one of the first times that Punk and Cena even touched. Like
Yeah.
it was a big deal. Luke Gallows was in his corner with Serena, and I don't think Joey Mercury was there yet, but they're going through this match, and it was a great match. This is I can't watch this.
So weird.
Um,
Anyway, yeah.
So they're going through this match, and all of a sudden Wade Barrett comes out, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's Wade Barrett! He just won NXT, and he's got this armband on. It just has an N." And they're like, "That must mean he's the champion of NXT." And then all of a sudden, the rest of the dudes just surround the ring, like they came from the crowd, and it's the whole NXT roster. It's 8 guys.
Yeah.
They jump the ring, demolish Cena and the Straight Edge Society. Excuse me. They kick the crap out of the announcers, out of the ring crew. They tear the ring apart.
That's amazing.
They tear all the they literally deconstruct everything ringside. It's also the night that Daniel Bryan got fired from the WWE because they cut over to Daniel Bryan, and he had, was it Justin Roberts?
Mm-hmm.
Justin Roberts, the ring announcer, he's choking him out with his own tie. And it was like literally earlier that year they'd signed a deal with Mattel, and apparently Mattel had freaked out because this dude is attempting murder on TV. And it was like the weirdest thing because it seemed so real.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because when I watched it originally, I went back and rewatched it. I fell asleep during that Raw, and I woke up to them destroying CM Punk and Cena and going, "What is going on?"
What did I miss?
And it was literally every one of them. It's Heath Slater, it was David Otunga, Ryback, Skip Sheffield, Michael Tarver, who's also there. Literally everybody on this team is no longer with the company. Man, some Cactus Jack for your day. But
you just missed Terry Funk popping out of a dumpster and hitting.
there's your man,
The-
Chainsaw
yeah.
Charlie. He looks really familiar too. I don't know who
Yeah.
he is, but it was just like this weird deal where it's like this new super group is here,
Yeah.
and it's all these young guys, and that's basically their whole deal was they were there to take over. And then they kicked out Daniel Bryan immediately, storyline wise, because he got fired. But
That's amazing.
and they
Where did he go after that?
he went back to the Indies for a little while.
And then got rehired.
Got rehired like 3 months later.
He was
Wow.
gone for 3 months. I don't think he even had a no compete because I think he went to ROH for a little bit. I know he did a PWG.
Mm-hmm.
But he just went back to the Indies. He was Bryan Danielson again. And they ran roughshod over the locker room for 3 months. And then Cena had enough, storyline wise.
Yeah, of course.
And he was going to form a team. We're going to have an 8-man or 7-man elimination match
Of course.
at SummerSlam where you're going to face Team WWE. And he goes around recruiting people. He gets R-Truth, John Morrison, Bret Hart. It was during the time when Bret Hart was on TV again, and he was like U.S.
Wow.
champion for a little bit and was the general manager.
Okay.
He gets, at the time, heel Jericho and heel Edge to join the team. Everybody else's faces, and then there's Edge and Jericho. And
Love it.
they get them reluctantly, like the whole build-up, like you didn't know if Jericho and Edge were actually going to be on their side. And then they got beaten down by the Nexus. So one night they helped John Cena. And it was like huge because Jericho had been a heel forever. Edge had returned earlier that year and had just been turned heel again. But it was incredible. Like, they did this match, and then they were trying to get The Miz to join Team WWE. And he's like, I will make my decision the night of SummerSlam. And so they go to him. Throughout the whole show, it shows every member going to The Miz and going like, dude, come on, we'll give you this.
Like, yeah, you should come join.
And like, I think somebody even, there they are. Somebody even said, yeah, because that's right. They took out Khali, and that's why they needed the 7th member. They literally went, join us, and you can have this stack of cash. You can have this car, whatever. And then it comes down to the match, and he's not actually told them what he's going to do yet.
Yeah.
And he comes out, and John Cena's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're not in this match. We couldn't rely on somebody that's going to wait till the day of. He goes, so we went out and got our own guy. And that 7th member is Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan returns. He goes, he's someone who hates the Nexus more than any of us. And it made sense because, he got kicked out of the group. So,
wow,
but-
that is amazing.
and then that night, Team WWE beats the Nexus, like, handedly.
Like, just destroyed.
Yeah, like, gets up 7-5, like, within the first 2 minutes of the match. And then Skip Sheffield actually got him back into the match, like, eliminated 3 straight. And then it came down to Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel, who's now PJ Black on the Indies, and John Cena. And, of course, Cena goes over, LOL, and does all of his poses.
As he tends to do.
And so then that made me want to watch, for whatever reason, the 2010 Royal Rumble. So I watched that today, too. And it's the one where I was talking about where Shawn goes crazy because he's trying to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania and just starts super kicking people because he got eliminated.
I love it.
And he eliminated Triple H from the match, and they were the unified tag team title holders at that time as DX. It was a great match, but I forgot that this is when Edge came back from Achilles surgery. He'd been out 8 months. He was supposed to be gone for like 13 and came back and won the Rumble.
Wow.
And I think he won the world title from Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mania.
That was 2010.
2010.
So when did Edge retire?
The next year.
2011.
So it was
The next
right
year.
after. Wow.
Because he became world champion, kind of fumbled the belt around a little bit that year with some other dudes, but was world champion going back into WrestleMania the next year, fought Del Rio, and then the next night he was like, I'm retired. I can't. The doctor said I literally can't fall on my neck again or I will die. And then he said goodbye and left.
Wow.
And then showed up 10 years later.
And then
To blow Landon's mind.
And it's
Blow
live
my mind.
and it's
at the Royal
crazy
Rumble 2020.
because the pop he got at Royal Rumble, kind of crazy. 2010 he gets the biggest pop of the Rumble. 2020 he gets the biggest pop of the Rumble.
2030, biggest pop of the Rumble.
Yeah.
Dude, don't play.
And he
They do
might
it
be
every
even
10 years.
better shape because back then he was a little flabby even. And
Dude, seeing some stuff.
he's
like, that
so
was,
cut.
Like, some of the stuff that I was, some of the magazines I've been reading, like pictures of like Shawn Michaels from the early '90s, and he's not real fit.
Yeah, but younger Sean, he's big.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
you
that's
get
what I'm saying. He's just like
when you've like rockers Sean
yeah,
into like early 90s Sean, it's just like bloated, puffed up, trying to get as big as he can. And then like 95 through 98, like you start getting into like shredded Big
Oh, yeah.
Sean. And then when he comes back after the injury, like is a little soft in 2002. And then like he just found a stride to where it's like I will like he looks incredible without like being big. Like
Right.
to where it's like you see old man Sean today and like his arms like are always in perfect condition.
He still looks
You
great.
just see the gigantic vein.
I kind of say that I love like older man Sean, like
Oh,
that
he's
we
great.
have today when he just like comes out in his dumb little cowboy hat.
Once he got
like,
his lazy eye, like he became the Sean I love. I love 90s Sean. I mean,
yeah,
he's arguably the greatest worker in the history. But oh yeah, look, there's Bray Wyatt there on the edge as
Whoa.
Husky Harris when he joined the Nexus. Him and Michael McGillicuddy, as we now know, Curtis Axel. But we're watching like a supercut of Nexus stuff here in Studio LB. But yeah, the Sean that I love later Sean with the Rey Mysterio,
Yeah.
not Rey Mysterio. They kind of look like his pants, but his like chap looking pants, and
totally.
especially when he had those DX gears, like all of his DX gear once he became like pants Sean
Yeah.
are some of my favorites.
I saw a shoot with Sean this week. I was waiting outside of a doctor's office.
Is it the one with the giant dip in his mouth?
Yes.
They were just talking about that on another show I was watching.
Okay. I don't like. I hadn't seen it. It showed up my recommended on YouTube. And dude, he legitimately like this. I know people listening can't see, but it was like this.
He's got a golf ball in his
Adam
mouth.
Adam
like-
Cole has
Adam-
gone on record saying the only reason he dips at all is because of Shawn Michaels dipping.
Dude, it literally, as he's talking about like he's telling stories, it'll like the golf ball will like move to the like the middle of his mouth,
It's gross.
and he like pushes it. He has to push it back in.
Yeah.
It's like absolutely disgusting.
But like that Sean is my favorite with the cowboy hats and saying goofy stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, that was kind of whenever Sean became like the out there dude, like he's a little mentally not there, especially when
love
he's
it.
with Triple H, because Triple H will be like, "Listen, you know, like we gave it to Sean because like this is the only thing we let him do." You know, and he's like, you know, if we don't, Sean will lose his smile again, and we don't want to. He legit tells
We
this
don't
to
want
Billy
that.
Gunn when Billy Gunn tries to do the, and if you're not down with that, because that was Sean's deal after, you know, the New Age Outlaws left. But he's like, listen, if we don't let him do it, Sean will lose his smile again, and we don't want him to lose his smile again. But
We can't have that.
you know, but I mean, that's what I watched. I've watched those today on my lunch break.
I love it.
And my wife was sitting there going, wait, that's Cody Rhodes? Like, wait, that's Daniel Bryan? And then we saw Jack Swagger enter that Royal Rumble. And she goes, who is that? He looks familiar. I go, you just watched him on Double or Nothing. He's Jake Hager. And she goes, that's Jake Hager?
Yeah.
Like, and then Matt Hardy came out in his tights. Like, it was in the time when he was just wearing tights, not pants. And I was like, that's Matt Hardy. And she goes, he looks so young, but so old at the same time. And I was like, yeah, that was probably like peak drug Matt Hardy. And I also forgot that CM Punk was in the mask that night for the Nexus invasion. So
That's amazing.
but I mean, that's what I watched this week. Jimmy, what'd you watch this week?
Well, we taught last episode, the lost episode. I was given homework, and I did not complete my homework.
Why
So
don't you tell the folks what your homework
I don't
was?
think. First of all, let me just go ahead and say I don't think it counts because
Oh, it counts.
the episode never came out. Basically, I had never seen Unforgiven 2005, which is the only pay-per-view that has taken place in Oklahoma City, where we all live, and I have not seen that. And so I was supposed to watch it this week. Pulled a classic newcomer, didn't watch it. But you know what I did watch, which I want to talk about, is, and I've only seen the first episode, but I watched The Last Ride of The Undertaker.
That's
It's
what I was going to
so
mention. I watched
good.
the first 3.
It's so
Okay.
good.
I have time. I saw that the 4th episode doesn't come out until like the middle of June, so I have some time to watch it. But guys, that episode, that first episode, I mean, I was emotional. Like, it's such a good documentary. It's probably the best documentary I've seen WWE ever do.
Oh, definitely.
And they don't like with a lot of I feel like a lot of the WWE documentaries they try to sugarcoat it in a way that's like, hey, here's the Attitude Era. We're going to talk about DX more than we should.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or
Yeah, they definitely tried to bring DX into every conversation, which I love DX, but
same.
it gets old.
Yeah. And so they didn't remove Jim Ross.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't remove Chris Jericho.
Right.
But notice how it says former WWE
Yeah.
superstar Chris Jericho.
Which is
They make
insane.
sure you know that was filmed in 2017. Like,
Yeah. But that's insane. It's insane for me to see like that footage and just like having Taker so open to that. It was so good. Like it was such an emotional thing to like watch him sort of like wrestle with the whole idea of am I good enough? Can I, still go in the ring? Can I perform the way I want to? And obviously, I mean, he wasn't happy with that Roman match at 33.
and it gives you so much more respect for the guy because, like, for the last few years, I'm like, he's just here because he wants a paycheck.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he may be twisting it to make it sound like he doesn't. That's not what it is. But for me, I was like, I love this literal ride that we're going on with the Undertaker.
Yeah, because and I just felt like I also felt for Michelle at the end of that first episode when she's like, he laid the hat and the gloves and the coat in the ring and he came over and kissed me and checked on the kids and I've heard it a million times that this is it, this is the end, but I know this time it really is. And it's like that's episode 1 and it's like, oh yeah, we still got at least 3 or 4 years of just him wrestling.
Spoiler alert, every episode ends that way.
Oh yeah.
100%.
They make it
That's
seem like he
exact-
just retired every
That
episode.
is exactly what I want. That's so good.
I'm done, man. I feel good about this one. If this was the last one,
Hey man.
I'm okay. On the next episode of The Last
Well,
Ride.
Was it episode 1 where he gets introduced to Roman Reigns' wife?
Yes. And
And-
he's like, oh man, we saw kid this one over here, man. This one over here, she's got baby fever, man. Like he's just like
Here they are. They're starting to attack.
the Nexus.
Anyway, go ahead. She's got
Yeah.
baby fever. Yeah.
And like Roman's like, have you met my wife? He's like, yeah, man. He like shakes his hand.
So
shakes her hand.
about WrestleMania in 1997,
Yeah, he's like, man, we were down there in Atlantic City. We had, the Superdome, and it's like keeps going. Is that real? I'm sorry.
We'll talk about it off record.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
It's
sweating
all good.
It
I
is
just
all
saw something
It's
that
not as
Yeah.
cool. It's not as cool as you think it is.
Okay.
it's not as
so-
cool as the Nexus attacking John Cena here in a second, but
But yeah, so Undertaker is great. I love him, even if I don't necessarily agree with all his personal views on things.
well,
But
we all have our own personal views, so
we do,
and we all come together because of pro wrestling. So
because of pro wrestling, and I found it very telling that he never, obviously he's not allowed, but in this, even more so, he never used the word wrestling.
right.
He's like, we out there, we're entertainers, man. I love just Hick Undertaker though, just like,
because that's him.
hey man,
He's a gun-toting Texan.
hey
Like,
man, hey, this one over here, she got the baby fever.
I will say, like, it blows my mind the amount of flack he's getting online, like, for the clothing he's wearing.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Which it's like it's been well known, like, he's a hardcore, like, right wing Republican.
yeah,
right.
And it's like he doesn't say like anything like
well, I'm not surprised. Like, I'm not. he works for Donald Trump's best friend.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like that's.
And it's like what
But
like
I'm not surprised.
whatever
But at the
your
end of the
opinion
day,
is.
he's from Houston, Texas. Like,
Yeah.
And it's like he doesn't like I get like the clothes he's wearing, like cool, like whatever, like he's entitled to wear that. Like I don't have a problem with it. And it's like he doesn't say anything. Like it'd be
Yeah.
one thing if it was like,
It was all about.
hey,
that.
here's the Undertaker's documentary, but it's actually like a political move.
right.
That'd be one thing, but it's like I haven't heard him say one thing about it. So if you're been out of shape about it, delete your
isn't the
Twitter.
podcast
This
for
isn't
you.
this isn't the podcast for you, because it's like here's the thing. It's like
We don't want to hear it.
because it's like there's people on both sides of the political spectrum. Like I don't agree with it. I don't think like your entertainment platform is the place to like focus all of that.
Right.
Because it's like when we tune into like wrestling stuff, like we want to watch wrestling. We don't want to watch like other stuff like that. Jimmy, I'm so happy you watched that.
Dude, it was so good. Like, I'm so excited to watch the other 2 episodes, and I'm really interested to see where it goes. Just because, I mean, like, as people know, like I wasn't necessarily a huge wrestling fan as a kid. Right,
Right.
I only got into it recently, but I knew who the Undertaker was.
Right.
I mean,
can remember sitting in my mother's car that had a TV that had a little antenna and watching some weird special on UPN about the Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania. I had no clue who the Undertaker was until that point.
yeah.
But like, he's the Undertaker. I mean,
It's when I think about a guy who wrestled. I mean, he debuted in WWE in 1990,
right.
and so he was wrestling in the 80s for
He's
WCW.
literally wrestled my entire life for
Yeah.
WWE.
That's insane.
I'm 29 years old this year.
Yeah, like
30 years old this year. Sorry.
yeah. I mean, it's just crazy, but
And in fact, he debuted a couple weeks after my birthday because it was at Survivor Series
yeah.
in November.
Oh man, that's so good. I don't know, man. He's one of those guys who, like, the more I think about it, the more I realize that he is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Right.
But it feels so cliche to say that who's your favorite wrestler? Oh, Undertaker.
Hey, man. It's Undertaker.
Hi, man, it's the Undertaker. But I mean, this guy wrestled.
You want to go?
This?
You want to do this?
I
Wanna do
watched that too. That's
You wanna do it?
You want to do it? But I watched, or I saw like him wrestling like Hulk Hogan in the early '90s.
Yeah.
Which is
And that dude looks like a completely different person from what we've got now.
yeah. But when you think about, I mean, there's not very many people. I mean, I know Hogan wrestled a lot, but like, I just feel like there's not that many people who can just say they wrestled Hulk Hogan and kind of like basically the prime of Hulkamania
And beat him.
and beat him and are still wrestling to this day.
Right.
Like,
Not a lot of them.
yeah,
Not a lot of
not
them.
a lot. But it was cool to see him like backstage talking to like Michael P.S. Hayes and Gerald Briscoe. You know, his story of him talking, he was like, man, about 5 months for Mania, old boss man, he points at Michael P.S. Hayes, he goes, old boss man here calls me, how you feeling? He goes, well, I feel like crap. I feel like crap every year, Michael. It's just like, it was just such a fun documentary, and I'm so excited to see where it goes. And like my time with Undertaker, watching like regularly, kind of, it takes place within this time that the documentary takes place. So it'll be really cool to see how he feels about the things that I got to see, live.
And it makes it so much better knowing that this is like the first time we're ever really seeing this side of Undertaker,
Yeah.
because he's been so safeguarded his entire career with that character, because he respects the character so much that he
Yeah.
didn't let people see the
Well,
other
the
side
first
of him.
5 minutes of the documentary, he's in the hotel checking in, and Roman Reigns walks up, and he turns to him, and he goes, "Can't keep kayfabe for 5 minutes."
Right.
And you think he's joking, but I don't think he was.
I don't think he was.
There's
either.
there's no way
because he doesn't like laugh.
Because Roman's like,
give Roman a high
Roman's
five.
like, ha ha, tell it to the camera behind us, and Undertaker's just looking at him, and then just turns and walks
yeah,
away.
it's not like he like laughs and like
Well,
gives him a high five.
And
or
what's
whatever.
telling is whenever Chris Jericho goes, "Is this your last match?" Because he's like, "You've never had a camera crew around you,
yeah,
and now you have a camera crew around you.
like what's going on?
The weekend of WrestleMania, what is going on?"
Totally.
And he's like, "I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh no, man.
I don't know,
You
Chris.
see,
You know,
what does he tell Stone? He tells Stone Cold, he's like, "I'm gonna run till the wheels fall off me."
right?
But yeah, it was great. Highly recommended it. I'm sure everyone who's listening has already seen it. But
I will say the thing that crushes me about it. So the next two episodes, it's June 14th and then June 21st.
yeah,
My gosh,
My birthday is June 22nd. So hypothetically, I told David when they first announced this, I said, if the last episode, because I noticed the dates, I was like, it's weird that there's kind of a gap in between. And then I said, if the final episode confirms Undertaker's official retirement the day before my birthday, thanks.
dude, what are you gonna do,
Cancel cancel WWE Network.
dude? It's almost as bad as the other wrestling birthday that you had, which was
That was
the Chris Benoit tragedy.
it's a horrible.
oh
horrible.
my gosh, that was around your birthday.
Yeah,
wasn't
it was like I had my birthday, and I went to the eye doctor
Oh,
the
man.
next day, and they had the news on. It was like, oh no, we're not allowed to talk about that anymore.
I did a research paper about that whole incident in
Wow.
college, like 10 pages over why roid rage is bad, and I used Chris Benoit's story like as the main thesis of the paper.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, that's what I watched. Landon, what did you watch? I'm very interested. You have a
So,
smirk on your face.
I caught up with all 3 episodes of The Last Ride that are out. I watched a little bit of AEW this week. I watched a little bit. I caught some glimpses of Raw and SmackDown. We watched Double or Nothing together.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I just kind of went down a wormhole of just moments in wrestling history. I thought there's a couple of really good Twitter accounts for just wrestling history, but on Instagram at a wrestling historian just post the wildest stuff, hey, on this day, blah blah blah, and it's stuff you would never think of, on this episode, it was a couple of weeks ago. I also caught up on all of Dark Side of the Ring and finished that.
Oh man.
But it was it just so happened that
So you've been having a real happy, cheerful.
yeah,
week?
it's
I'm
been
so behind on Dark
wonderful.
Side of the Ring.
Well,
too.
get ready to cry.
Oh, I know.
And give
I
up
know.
everything you like. But when the Road Warriors episode dropped, it was coincidentally, hey, on this day in 2003, it was Kane and RVD versus the Road Warriors for the Raw Tag Team titles.
Nice.
And so it's whoa, that's super late in the Road Warriors career. Okay, I'm gonna watch that. And so that's the main thing I watched this week, and some weird little ons and ends and stuff like that. And getting to once again, if you haven't listened to episode 7, listen to it. It was really fun to interview my roommate and his brother and get their opinion on wrestling. I saw some old friends this week that were here from out of state visiting, and we got to rehash moments of our childhood. I won't go into detail. We got some of their home videos converted over to digital, and we were watching it, and there's just horrible, cringy videos that we made in 5th and 6th grade, but there's the wholesome moment of in the bedroom, the shaky camera spin around while pre-puberty boys are squealing, and you see
Squealing like Private Party.
exactly, just, you see a DX poster on my best friend's wall, and just little moments like that to where we'd
Oh.
pause and be look, there's some of those DVDs like on the ground, or like, oh, look, you can see some of the WWE magazines like
Oh, that's so nice.
in that. There's maybe we'll put this in the Patreon. I got to get permission first. There may or may not be a video of me and said friend dancing to Shawn Michaels' theme song and lip syncing it for the full length.
I
I
gotta
feel like
see it.
I feel like I need to see that.
So we'll see.
I feel like I need to see that.
I have to get consent for that, but yeah, that's what
I understand that.
that's what I watched this week. But let's, we've been going. We're almost at the 45-minute mark.
Should we
Let's jump right into
talk about Dawn? Double or nothing.
Dawn, good old
Double or Nothing.
Dawn 2. Dude,
Double or nothing too.
first of all, the spread was great at the party.
Oh my gosh.
I did a bring what you want, and I'll grill it meal.
Grill master over here. Was just,
Somebody was a little late and didn't get to be a part of that part, but he had a
true.
good excuse.
I had a great excuse.
He had a great excuse, but we got together at my place for the first time,
it was fun.
and I grilled some steaks. Everybody brought their own steak. I grilled some steaks. Jimmy's over there like moaning, and
I'm like dreaming about it, man. It's so good.
his mouth is starting to water a little bit.
All
It's
I'm saying
almost dinner time around
is-
here.
all
so.
I'm saying is we're getting pizza tonight. So I'm not
Oh,
getting mad about
dude, I could go for some pizza.
it. I get a free Pizza Hut pizza
Why? Is
because they brought my last one late.
very nice.
So shout
Well,
out.
It's beautiful.
Shout
I'm
out
on
to
a
Pizza
I'm on a diet right now.
Yeah, no
I've
pizza. for
Lost
you.
15 pounds, but
Congratulations.
today for lunch I had a couple slices of cheese and ham. So like
Yep.
tonight I think we're having like some veggies, and that's about it. But
You know.
You know.
Sometimes you gotta go. There's ebbs and flows. You know.
that steak was amazing though on
Steak was really
Saturday.
good with tater tots, which odd combination, but let
Hey,
me tell
you know.
you. Let me tell you, it works.
Listen, steak and potatoes. It's potatoes.
I
Like
love it so much.
there's nothing more Oklahoma than steak and potatoes, all right? Oh man, we're still watching Nexus clips, and there's young Usos. There's Ted DiBiase Jr., Randy Orton when
Tyson Kidd.
Randy Orton when he wore his skin tight shirt. There was David Hart Smith, aka Davy Boy Jr.
We saw him wrestle, Landon.
But,
did.
We saw him down in Dallas.
That-
MLW.
That was back when I had the biggest crush on Natalia. Like, thought she was the end all be all.
There you go.
She was my manager on all WWF video games.
That's amazing.
But I was like the fourth member of the Hart Dynasty on the video games. But everybody came over. We started watching. We tried to watch the pre-show that was
Well,
supposed to start at 6:00.
I guess they just did a half-hour pre-show. Though.
Right.
So it just started at 6:30. So we were all kind of, well, my wife and I were late too because we went to go buy the steak and Walmart didn't have any meat. Their meat section was just non-existent. So we had to go to the other grocery store. We had to go over to Sprouts and completely.
And we all know that you can't have your pudding if you don't eat your meat. So
Well, Mr. Floyd taught us that. And I just got to say the steak was delicious. The company was fantastic. This is the first time that the three of us and all of our significant others were
All the good
had
brothers and good sisters
all the good
were all
brothers and good
together.
sisters hung out. And I got to
Some-
say it was amazing.
the Good Sisters all finally were together,
Yeah.
and I think
And
they
it-
became good sisters that
And
night.
it changed your wife's opinion on wrestling.
She really enjoyed having everybody over and watching it, and not
Yeah.
just me,
Yeah.
because everything's better with a group.
Totally.
But like it's different because all Amanda's ever seen was one ROH show
Yeah.
and then WWE. I mean, she doesn't like watching old stuff with me for the most part because she's like, "Oh, this is old. Why should I care?"
yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, I see where you're getting at." But Double or Nothing was a
It was a really good pay-per-view.
pay-per-view of the year for me so far, in my opinion.
I'd say.
Um,
I would say it was.
Landon,
I liked it.
Do you agree on that?
I've seen all the results. I did arrive
Oh, I
late.
forgot you haven't
So
watched all of
I
them.
haven't watched all of it yet. But what
you
I've
don't.
seen, I'll say this, like TV could definitely be stronger, but I'll say AEW, like when they get to their pay-per-views, like that's their meat and potatoes, like without
Seriously, like
a
They've
doubt.
been the best wrestling show through the quarantine, though. And I think that's because they've had a crowd pretty much the entire time, whether it be other wrestlers or not.
Well, it's like that, but also the fact that we've talked about this before, like playing, like TV wrestling for TV, and then like live wrestling for live wrestling, and having it to where we're currently watching the pie eating contest between Lou Albano and King Kong Bundy.
and Iron Sheik is in a Batman costume.
Hulk Hogan is dressed up like a Roman soldier. This is the weirdest. The 80s were so weird, guys. Like,
But
I
it's like
love
the
it.
fact that this was like this would totally like that's 100% common for
and then Macho
He's
Man is just
Mean
his gimmick.
Gene's a pumpkin.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, like AEW had their TV has been better formatted for the pandemic
Totally.
because it's like, okay, like we're gonna write a TV show.
Right.
Like there's no live crowd per se. They've started using their wrestlers for that live crowd. NXT, I think, or WWE's doing that for the first time this week.
They did. I watched a little bit of Raw, and it was kind of weird because they have like hockey glass around the barricades.
Whoa.
And all the lights kept shining off of it, so you forgot
They're
that
in a
there were
light
people
prison.
behind the plexiglass. So it was just like, what's going on here? But go ahead.
But I will say WWE is slowly starting to adapt. And I'm not a huge fan of the Viking Raiders and Street Profits stuff, but I like that they're starting to get more creative. And it's like, okay, like you can't have a live crowd, so don't book stuff.
Yeah.
Like for instance, we keep bringing it up, like Drew's win at WrestleMania would have been amazing if there was a live crowd, but there wasn't.
Yeah.
You just feel so bad for him, too.
Yeah. And so it's like there's a reason why the Boneyard match, the Corporate Money in the Bank, the Firefly Funhouse match, and now the Stadium Stampede matches are the most successful things going on. And it's because like, oh, like that format is perfect to watch on TV. If this was the Attitude Era and it was taking place, this would be the time like, okay, Raw is going to be 1 hour of Stone Cold Steve Austin destroying everything in the universe.
Right.
Yeah.
And how amazing would that be versus like, hey, we're going to watch Brett and Owen go 60 minutes in front of nobody.
Yeah.
It's like it completely decreases the value.
It makes it hard.
But all that to say, like the show, like I was very pleased with the show. Like without a doubt, my favorite part, the Stadium Stampede match.
Totally. Should we run the card down?
Let's do it.
Okay, let me pull it up.
For the listeners at home, Landon had some other things that he had to take care of.
Landon had a date.
Landon had a date.
Had to secure some brownie points with the good sister by meeting her good brothers and good sisters.
Yeah. Which, you know what? I'm all for.
Hey, life's all about getting over, brother, and
It truly is.
I had to
All
get
right,
over.
Let's see.
But-
What are we working with here?
He showed up about the Nyla Rose Hikaru match.
So yeah, the pre-show, the buy-in.
That was a pretty good tag for the
It was a good
beginning
tag, yeah.
with the,
It was best friend's private party. We don't have to get into it since you didn't see it yet, Landon.
I love me some Trent. Just gonna put that out there.
Trent.
Trent.
The casino ladder match was really, really good.
It's great.
The mystery. Landon, you know who the mystery.
We'll
person
say
is.
this right now. Spoiler: it's been a week. If you haven't watched Double or Nothing, pause right now.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the rest of the episode until you've watched it. This is your final warning, because we're going to talk about it. Our mystery guest, Mr. GMSI,
Yeah.
Brian Cage,
wait, Brian
the
Cage is
machine.
here?
Our mystery guest. He said
Our mystery guest in the
Brian Cage walked through the door
in,
right now.
in
I
the
would
corporate
really just run.
in the corporate casino ladder match.
Um,
Which what a great surprise, but also like
Yeah.
with Taz.
Which that right there is amazing.
Like
well,
that's
it's the human suplex machine with
the machine.
the machine. Like, but I will say this about that ladder match. I will pay all the money just to see Orange Cassidy do what he does.
God,
He
he's
comes
so
out
good.
and he goes to Excalibur and goes, "So how do I win this again?" Like,
He goes over, asks him, and then he comes down. Which I'm glad they didn't do this because they had Cage, but I was like, how amazing would it be if Orange Cassidy like just hangs up at the entrance ramp and then everyone like joins in and then he just walks down to the ring. Everyone is like fighting and he just puts a ladder up and climbs up nonchalantly and gets it. Like
besides, go ahead, man.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, especially in this moment, and we saw it with the Otis winning the Money in the Bank. Like, this is the absolute time to do non-traditional finishes
Yes.
Oh
in moments. Like, keep us surprised to where it's like, okay, maybe like it doesn't make sense for Orange Cassidy to win, but it's like have him weird in a win way, or like it's like, hey, Brian Cage is gonna win and destroy everybody. Plot twist. Now he's with Taz, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like,
Right.
Like, what's
okay,
going
I
on?
really want to watch this week because I want to see what's going to happen.
The highlight of that match for me was Orange Cassidy going and getting a ladder, standing it straight up, and not even like setting the ladder up.
Yeah, he just stood
And
it up.
he acts like he's going to climb, and then it just falls over, and he's just like, what do I do? Like that was the look on his face.
Yeah. Well, he first sets it down in the ring, not even stands it up. He just sets it down and then he climbs on top of it. Like he just takes like the little half 6-inch step up
And reaches
and
up.
just puts his hand up for the poker chip,
But
which is great. Okay, so the next match, Jungle Boy versus MJF, solid match.
it was a good match.
Little
That's a future main event somewhere.
yeah, Jungle Jack Perry.
Good old Jungle Jack Perry. His
Yeah.
daddy was Luke Perry.
Jungle Jack, the boy.
Okay, then you have what I thought was one of the best matches of the card, Cody versus Lance Archer.
Oh, dude, it was a solid match.
Cody has gone on record saying that Lance Archer is one of the best he's ever stepped in the ring with, and that he was
It showed.
actually super not into the idea at first to bring him into the company, which is funny to me. I don't know why, but I can't remember. I can't remember who exactly was like, no, we need to do this. But I think it may have been one of the Bucks, or maybe it was even
Well,
Kenny.
the Bucks and Omega worked with him in Japan.
Yeah, we're like, hey, we need to bring him in for sure. So
he was great.
yeah, I just want to say, Mike Tyson came out.
Was the weirdest part of the entire night.
You need to watch this, Landon.
I've seen it.
Like,
Okay,
The
so he first of all, he was like yawning on the like
yeah, like
and he's
they
just
cut
sitting
to him
over
during
there.
the match, and he's just yawning, and it's like that goes on the cameraman. Like,
yeah.
yeah, like I know how production works. Like, you can tell what someone's doing, like as you switch to it. Like if it like
Totally.
if he started yawning, like cut away instantly. Like, don't just like, hey, we're gonna just watch Mike Tyson yawn the whole time.
he's just sitting over there like the world's worst looking title belt, which supposedly is unfinished. So I'll give him
No. It supposedly is unfinished, but Cody said he loves it so much the way it is, he might just keep it that way.
that. Gosh, it's horrible.
It looks like if you go to Walmart and you buy the toy version of the Raw Tag Team title, and if you get a black magic marker and write TNT on it.
But Tyson's literally sitting over here with the title and just kind of lounged back the whole match. But I loved Arn and Jake in that match.
Arn and Jake were both fantastic.
When are they going to fight? When do you think their match is? Fighter Fest?
Like even it would have to be gimmicked, so just give it to me though. Like I just want to see like Jake came out. Jake got kicked out, right? And so he had to go backstage. And he came back out with his bag with the snake in it.
Yeah, because he got kicked out because Arn interfered.
Arn interfered and pushed Lance Archer off.
Yeah.
The top rope. Then Jake comes out with the bag, and Mike Tyson gets up and like takes his shirt off and basically acts like he's gonna beat the crap out of Jake. And Jake's like, "No, man, no!" Like he starts like begging. He's like, "No, man, no, it's fine."
It was
it's fine,
fantastic.
No, please. And like finally like turns around and like goes and like leaves, like goes back to the entryway or whatever. But man, that was a really good match. I'm surprised Cody won. Is what I'll say.
I'm surprised too. I figured
really
they were going to give Lance Archer a little bit more of a heel run there, which one loss doesn't kill somebody.
Yeah.
It's how they bounce back, how they book them from here on out. But also Cody needed a win. He's taken so many pins.
Yeah.
That I think he's finally gotten to the point where he deserves that win. And whatever y'all want to say out there, the people that are mad that he won because he's one of the executives of the company, like, just shut up. Like, I mean, it's good wrestling. He's one of the biggest draws on the planet.
I mean, obviously, if he was winning all the time, yeah, it wouldn't be as exciting.
He's a dude that's not even allowed to compete for a world title. So
yeah,
right.
He has written himself out of that, which props to him, you know. Okay. We then had Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford.
Solid match. It was good. I mean,
I don't have anything to say about that.
Statlander is great at what she does.
And like, what a good gimmick to have.
I'm an alien.
Yeah, and it's like, cool. Like, keep it weird, keep it entertaining.
Yeah. You have Dustin Rhodes versus Shawn Spears. This was really weird.
Yeah.
This is what I want to say about Dustin Rhodes, first of all. I will say that he's like not exactly, I think he's a little younger, but he's like Undertaker's age.
Pretty close.
Which is crazy to me because you have Undertaker who's just like, I'm broken down, I'm beat down, blah, blah, blah. And Dustin Rhodes is in the best shape he's ever been on.
Well, think of all the
in his
years
life.
that he wasn't with a top company where, yeah, he was doing some indie work, but he wasn't booked every day of the week like Undertaker was.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's old and he had his demons,
Yeah.
but he seemingly recovered from that. Why we had to see Shawn Spears' butt, I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that. Why Shawn Spears
Wears underwear with Tully on it.
Yes.
and was really embarrassed about it?
Literally had why?
Yeah. There's no
I mean, it's
reason.
effective heel work,
Yeah.
but
The
and it got
thing-
the baby face over.
Yeah, it was such a weird.
It would work better if there was a live crowd,
Right.
because you just have like the obscurity pop of it. It's like, oh, like,
Well, when it first happened, we went, what is on his underwear? For y'all that, if you haven't watched at home, he comes out in a suit and basically is claiming that Dustin
Yeah.
Rhodes isn't going to come out
He's a no-show.
to
And
give me the
so
win.
He tells Aubrey Edwards to start counting. So she starts counting, and Brandy comes out and is like yelling at Shawn Spears, and he's like, "Get away, blah, blah, blah." Then Dustin comes up behind Shawn Spears and like basically sucker punches him and starts undressing him. Like
Yeah.
starts like beating him up and like whatever, and then
Getting the dude's suit off.
yeah. And then somehow he gets down to his underwear and his butt starts his butt's hanging out, and he's got Tully Blanchard on his underwear, and then he like just like that was it.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Then Dustin wins. LOL.
Yeah. It was pretty
That
weird.
used to be my favorite meme, was the John Cena,
Cena wins, LOL.
LOL.
Yeah. Okay, then you have the no DQ match for the women's title. Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose.
That is the one match on the card that I have not seen all of.
Yeah. He stepped out of the room for that one.
We had to have a discussion,
A brothers talk.
but Hikaru won.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I didn't think that they would take the title off of Nyla this quick.
I feel like she hasn't really had a chance to defend it.
Yeah.
I feel like she hasn't really like proven herself as a champion. Not that she was a bad champion, she just didn't really do much with it because she wasn't really booked in a way that she did much with it.
And that's the problem with the monster champion, though.
Yeah.
Is so you built up this monster, Nyla Rose, gave her the title really quick. Now what do we do with her? Because we can't. Traditional booking says the monster can't lose.
Yeah.
Then we also had Lance Archer, who's also a monster, lose. But, what do you do with Nyla now? Like, in my mind, you just don't ever give her the title and let her be the monster that just keeps destroying everybody.
Yeah.
Kind of like Andre the Giant. And
It's like with the Fiend winning the title.
right,
It's like, what do you
Okay,
gain? What
okay,
does he gain and what do you gain?
Yeah.
you get a pretty ugly custom championship out of it for the
pretty-
Fiend. But
I would have bought that. If
I mean,
had
it was
money.
cool.
If
but
it
was
wasn't
like,
$6,000.
Listen,
Yeah.
I love the Fiend.
Tom Savini made it himself, so. But
Okay, then you had what I thought was probably the best wrestling match on the card, which is Moxley versus Brody Lee.
dude, it's everything I could have asked from that match.
And they did a good job of keeping it to where it wasn't just straight up wrestling. Like, it was very rugged and brawl filled.
Now, watching that match, I did get a interesting insight from my wife.
Okay.
She likes wrestling matches. She does. She
Yeah,
likes
yeah.
regular wrestling matches. But she goes, I can't get past the bleeding part. And I go, okay, go on. She goes, all I see whenever that happens is cross-contamination. She goes, working at a hospital, all I see is his blood is now on him, and his blood is now on him.
Yeah.
And she goes, I can't get past that. And I go, makes a lot of sense. But I go, look at it this way. They're fighting. I don't think I've ever been in a fight in my life that didn't end up with somebody having blood on them.
Yeah.
I mean, so she goes, yeah, and by that logic, everybody should have blood in their match. I was like, pretty much if they're punching each other.
Yeah, it's in the professional wrestling world, it's such a unique thing because on one hand, the power that has and adds to a match and to the story. But then on the other hand, Abdullah the Butcher and Billy Graham with Hep C.
Right.
And it's like one of those, like, the risk reward of it. And it's like, trust me, like, I'm all for us having that because of how powerful of a moment it can create.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like you want to care about the well-being, and it's not worth getting Hep C for little money. It's one thing like if you're making millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars, then you might be able to convince yourself. But at the same thing, it's like, hey, like, you want to get Hep C?
I loved the match.
Yeah.
My problem with it was this is too soon to pull the trigger on that Moxley and Brody match because Moxley just won the title, has not gotten a chance to really defend it except for like once against Jake Hager. And after playing the long con, getting him the title, you can't just go, okay, now in his second defense, it's off of him because they've built Brody into this guy that is supposedly he's the exalted one. He's the one above all in NXT, in AEW. How can he lose his first major match?
Yeah. Well, I think the finish to the match was such that you could go on and have a rematch like in a year.
Oh yeah, he's definitely not ruined by this loss.
And I think that like having, I mean, you do the Steve Austin, right? The Stone Cold finish from WrestleMania 13,
Yeah, where he just doesn't give
where
up,
he doesn't give up, and
which is a weird thing for your heel to do as well,
Yeah.
yeah,
and
but
not turn babyface.
Because it's like the way it ended, like you said, like, yeah, they can have the rematch, but later it's not set up to where it's like, oh, like, well, they got to fight like the next pay-per-view, because it's like, no, like, they really don't have to.
but if you do a thing where he's like, Brody Lee is kind of like, maybe some of the Dark Order are questioning him now, right?
Right.
Some of his minions are like, I wonder if this guy's really all that he says he is, and that kind of thing.
And can that be the build up to bringing back Evil Uno and
Yeah.
I can't remember the other one's name, Player Dose.
Yeah.
But it was Stu Grayson.
Yeah, Stu Grayson.
Stu Grayson, yeah.
In AEW.
Because they've been gone. They're just
Yeah.
literally not on TV anymore.
And so you have them come back, and I think you have it to where Brody Lee is sort of psychologically battling himself. You know what I mean?
Right.
About the whole thing.
Like I've said, I love Brody Lee's character. I love that he's basically playing Vince McMahon. I hope they don't go too far with it, because then it's going to be like whenever, $1 Million Man went over to WCW and he was Billionaire Ted, and, WWF at the time was making fun of Macho Man and Hulk Hogan on their television.
You mean you don't want Voodoo Kin Mafia?
Dude, I wish.
But I loved it. I loved that match. I want to go rewatch it again. I've been meaning to rewatch Double or Nothing, but
well, then you have the final match of the evening, if you could even call it a match, guys. You had the cinematic masterpiece.
It's more of a match than the Firefly Funhouse.
That was the Stadium Stampede match.
It had everything you could ever want. I loved it so much.
Can I just say, I'm starting with a showstopper on this segment, because if I can just get Matt Hardy quick changing costumes, like at everything he does, where he just becomes another version of himself, that was the greatest thing ever.
He tried to do that in WWE too.
Did he really?
He started doing it on his YouTube channel, and it was basically like the broken side of him was causing him to channel every version of himself. And then they were like, no, just dress up like Hardy Boys, Matt Hardy, please.
Oh.
But
It was
you were
so,
going to say
it's so
something,
much
Landon?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I'm right there with you. Like, it was the things like that to where it's like, because what was the best part of the corporate Money in the Bank matches? The cameos and the weird stuff going on.
Right.
Like, why was
Brother Love.
the Boneyard match so good? Because it was larger than life moments that it's like, oh, like, you can't do that in a regular wrestling match. And it's like this match, I would say, like, as someone, if you're not a fan of AEW and the things they do, this is the match that you should watch.
Yeah, just check it out.
Because it's good.
so much fun.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, it's not like, oh, this is the traditional Young Bucks 45-minute tag match, where it's like, this is the normal formula for a Chris Jericho match. It's like, no, like, it's just like an insane. It reminded me so much of like a WCW like hardcore title match.
Yeah.
To where it's like, hey, they're starting here. Okay, now all of a sudden they're like backstage and catering, and now it's like, oh, weird, like they're on top of the arena. Okay, now Norman Smiley's getting drowned like in the wishing well outside of the arena. And you had so many moments. One thing I loved, that I didn't catch till after was, I want to say it was Santana, from the Inner Circle, when they're fighting on the lower level deck of the stadium. He hits an Irish whip on Kenny Omega to launch Kenny into the hallway to continue their fight.
Right.
And he admitted it on Twitter later that he did that spot because in the WWF No Mercy video games, to go to a different section of the arena, you have to Irish whip your opponent through the curtain.
That is so
It's little
good.
tiny storytelling elements that made it so great.
That's amazing.
My highlight on that was anything Adam Page did.
Yep.
I love him so much. Like, and that's saying something out of that match because I love Matt Hardy. I love everything Matt Hardy's done in the last like 3, 4, ever since he's last run at Impact. I love the Young Bucks. They're my favorite tag team out there. Kenny Omega, amazing. Chris Jericho still on the top of his game. And then there's Hangman Adam Page finally finding his footing and becoming his own real character.
Yeah. Well, him riding the horse then was fantastic, and I mean it was all fantastic, right? But just I think you said it best, Landon. Just how over the top it was, how outlandish it was. It just doesn't get any better than that, and I think it was a great way to end the pay per view, and I think it was the like best way to sort of launch the next part, like the next build to the next pay per view, right. Which supposedly looks like it's gonna be Fighter Fest.
Yeah.
That's
what they've announced at least.
We're getting more info this coming up Wednesday.
And how great is it that Fighter Fest being a parody of Fire Festival, they might not even be able to have people at the show, which is just like the ultimate parody upon itself, but
I wish the Khan family owned a private beach.
be amazing.
But then again, depending on what Hogan's contract situation is, what if they're like, hey, Hulk, here's $2 million. Can we film on your beach?
Dude.
Come on now.
But that match, it just, there were so many times whenever the whole room at the party popped.
Yeah.
Like even Landon's girlfriend, has never watched a wrestling pay-per-view,
No.
was like, why is Adam Page riding that horse so slow?
Yeah, like why is he riding a horse through the arena? Or it's like, why are they sitting down to have a drink at the bar? Just like all these little things to where it's like, why is he leaning a ladder against the field goal post and climbing up it?
Right.
This is just like, I'm gonna just go out there and say this is my favorite thing AEW has done.
I agree.
And I think that's the perfect element of them like not being serious and doing it in a way to where it's not making a mockery of wrestling, but you're really getting into the performance art of it. Because I'd say it's on the exact same level as the Money in the Bank match in the Firefly Funhouse.
Oh, yeah.
You can't love one of those and not like this one, just because it's the exact same quality.
It's them getting into more of this storytelling that we kind of need to do during the quarantine stuff.
Yeah.
Like this, they should be building up. I know it's not going to happen, just because we don't get it. But for WWE's sake, say SummerSlam's their first pay-per-view back with a full crowd.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever the main event of SummerSlam is, that should be something that they're just building and building and building right now, to where it's like by the time we get out of quarantine, it's like this is about to explode. This is going to be the biggest thing they've done the entire year.
We all know that's going to be Sasha versus Bayley, right? I mean,
that's what it's gonna get. And what they're probably gonna do is they'll just blow it off like the week right before, or they won't even build, and then it's like, hey, it's SmackDown right before SummerSlam anyway. These two are gonna have a match. Woo!
She turns the night before SummerSlam, like at SmackDown, and they're like, yeah, Bayley and Sasha are gonna fight.
It's just one of those things. It's like this is the time to like improve your quality and get your ratings up in general by
try things.
Let's do cinematic. Like they're not doing Raw and SmackDown live anymore. Like give us cinematic stuff on there.
I've got a little nugget that I need to hit on that whenever we're done with this conversation.
Totally. But yeah, watch Double or Nothing. I think that's maybe not overall their best pay per view, but that match, hands down, in my opinion,
Totally.
they're the
I
best
agree with
thing
that.
AEW has created.
It's the most fun I've had watching AEW.
And it's one of those things where it's going to. That's the thing AEW needs to reach the masses,
Yeah, they've got to get that mainstream appeal.
because they're getting past the AEW fans with a match like that, to where it's people who are like, the Boneyard match was incredible, and then it's like, oh, like, hey, like, it's a different feel, but it's the exact same thing.
Here's how I measure a show's success anymore is how many GIF moments can we have? How many moments are there in this show where people can go on Twitter and put their little GIF picture up of a moment from that show? And that final match alone had, it seemed like every time we turned the camera to somebody else, we had another one of those moments. You know, whether it was Hardy changing and we get the matter of fact from Matt Hardy, or we get was it Santana that went into the freezer?
Yeah, and just froze
You
to
know,
death.
Matt Hangman chasing Sammy Guevara with the horse. I thought that they were going to recreate the golf cart moment with the horse, but then we realized that they recreated the golf cart moment
With
later
the golf cart.
with the golf cart. The fact that Matt Hardy put Ortiz in the chair of wheels. It's just the drink. I've seen the GIF uh, of Adam Page and Omega sharing the drink like 50 times on Twitter this week. And I love
Right.
that there was just a full carton of milk
Just
behind there
just
for
casually in the
Omega.
bar.
In a stadium
Shout out to Kurt Angle.
in a stadium that hasn't been used in months. There's just a full good
Non-expired.
non-expired
Yeah,
carton of
that's
milk.
the thing. Like, the non-expired milk just happens to be there.
But
Well,
it was a great pay-per-view.
it's a great pay-per-view. We
I think
take this
I
thing
think
home?
we're about ready to wrap this up. Once again, we're going to plug our stuff here, but remember, you're listening to this on Saturday. This is our new day. You won't be
Right.
getting episodes on Tuesdays anymore.
Yep.
We're-
They'll come out on
We're doing
Saturday.
that so we can be a little more timely with subjects like Double or Nothing, so you're not listening to the preview show the week after it airs, because we just want to be better about being on top of that. I've got a plug real quick I want to drop.
Do it.
So always, if you want to start a podcast, if you want to do anything like that, do not hesitate to reach out to @LandonBumgarner on all social media, or my very public email, LandonBumgarner@gmail.com. I also want to plug Peak of Wrestling. It is a new wrestling promotion that is starting up. November 7th is their inaugural show. That's the tentative date, considering things could either continue to get better or get worse. If that changes, they will keep you informed. Their Twitter, you can keep up with them at Peak of Wrestling there. Instagram, peak_of_wrestling there. It's their first show. And the really cool thing is all of the proceeds for this inaugural show will be going to the American Cancer Foundation.
Very good.
Yeah.
So just what a great
Very good
thing.
dude over there. I really enjoy talking to that guy.
We'll get him on the show maybe here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And just let him hear about it. If you're in the wrestling industry, some way, shape, or form, reach out to us either in our podcast group or by private message, and we want to talk with you. Jimmy?
Yeah, I have another podcast with my wife called Date Bit. It's D, the number 8 bit. We just posted an episode with Landon here, and a couple of our other friends, where it's pretty ridiculous. We act foolish, and it's a whole lot of fun.
Those are the best ones.
Totally, and we have another episode coming out, obviously once a week, but we have another episode coming out after that where we talk a bit about my wife's hockey fandom. So it should be nice and fun, and I really enjoy doing that one as well as this one. And then and follow us at DateBit, the number 8-bit podcast on Instagram. So that's my plugs.
With that, Jimmy bringing up hockey, if there's anyone out there that makes custom hockey jerseys, I'm looking for one. So if you happen to listen, Jimmy gave me some information the other day, and I need a custom hockey jersey yesterday from this.
It's wrestling.
It is wrestling related.
It's wrestling related. It's Oklahoma City related. Hit us up.
I love anything Oklahoma City and wrestling like together. Like there's a really weird thing that I want an OKC Thunder jersey that just says Bricktown Brawler on the back of it.
That's good.
If I was in wrestling, I would probably be a ripoff of the Brooklyn Brawler and be the Bricktown Brawler. But
that's good.
As Jimmy said, follow DateBit. That is one of my favorite podcasts, and it's not just because it's Jimmy and Kaylee, but they honestly, you can listen to their podcast and know that they love everything that they're talking about over there. But go ahead and follow us on Twitter at BKFabe, the letter B, and then Kayfabe, and then on Instagram, Brothers in Kayfabe. I always want to say Brothers of Kayfabe for whatever reason. We have a Tumblr now at Brothers at Brothers in Kayfabe. I'm just going to be posting cool wrestling videos over there.
I love it.
And I figured it was a good way to have all of our information in one spot. Join the podcast group, Brothers in Kayfabe, on Facebook. We have a lot of fun over there. We post. I try to post every day. We've got some other guys that post in there a lot, and it's a lot of fun. And then, of course, listen to Best Movie Ever podcast. I was thinking of a couple other things that I want to bring Jimmy and Landon, everybody on that deal. I want to have more guests on that show.
Yeah,
it's a lot more fun to do it with your good brothers. But for that, I think that's it. Oh, if you need any graphic design work, give me a holler.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give us an email at brothersinkayfabe@gmail.com as well. We've got it everywhere now, guys. We're taking over the world. Patreon.
We're Brothers in Kayfabe worldwide. Hit us up, Titus.
Patreon. $1 tier. You can donate whatever you'd like, but you have to donate $1 to be on that Patreon. So,
and we'll take care of you. We're not gonna.
We're gonna get some good content up there.
There's some Patreons that are really good. There's some that are just pure crap. We're gonna take care of you.
I will even put up videos of me drinking a ice cold NOS energy drink.
So why
not a sponsor, but
But they could be.
But they could be.
That's the point.
If you want to see me rage quit playing a wrestling game,
I think we should.
I'll do that.
I definitely think I'm about to start maybe a SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 playthrough.
Do it. There's some good career mode stuff on those.
So I'm thinking I might dig into that.
There's one where I can't remember if it's 2009 or if it's 2008, where Undertaker literally takes over your soul. And also Fit Finley's soul for whatever reason.
Listen, I'm in.
Like
you will not be disappointed.
It's great stuff. So yeah, follow us on all forms of social media, and don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on the podcast. And for that, I think it's time to take it home, boys. Let's get some Too Sweets. Too Sweet!